Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are here in Leaders in Logistics conference, recording our first ever LockersFirst podcast live edition. With me today here we have our sponsors of the Parcel Locker Software review, the supporters of the review from the companies Bloq.it, João Lopes, and from Direct for Me, Tadej Visinski. Hi guys, how are you doing today?
Great, it's been a good event. We're getting to the end of it, people are wrapping up, but it's quite exciting. Yeah.
And you, Tadej?
Yeah, a bit exhausted, but still, it was a very good event, packed with activities, meetings, so far so good.
So, but let's go back to the software review and the Parcel Locker software that is very close to my heart. João, you have been developing software for years, and you have very important clients like Vinted and DHL you are serving. What is the most difficult part right now for you in software development, or is there any difficult things you have to tackle?
Well, that's a great question. I definitely think software has always been important, but now it's recognized as being important. Because, sure, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, it wasn't talked about so much, but it was still there, and you still needed it. I guess it's more important now also because there are more complex use cases, and as the industry matures, users are, or consumers in this case, are more demanding, so you got to make sure everything works properly. For us, I think one of the biggest challenges in terms of software, working with different partners, is definitely making sure that we can both cater to their needs in terms of what they want and what they need in terms of software, but also create a strong solution that is standard enough that it can scale well and can be have a good set of functionalities. So mixing those two sometimes is hard because they're almost the opposite of each other. Very customized, very standard. But you want to be able to do both, and I think that's a big challenge, something we already have some experience doing, working with multiple partners like Vinted, DHL, very different companies, very different needs, but I think it's getting easier as well, as we get more experience. Yeah.
But Tadej, one thing that makes you very good in software development especially is that you are operating your own sort of network. You are hands-on everyday parcel delivery. You know what customers need. Does it help to build a good software, this kind of first-hand experience?
Actually, it is crucial because, once you invest in hardware will stay there for quite a while. It needs to be durable, lasting for at least, 10 years or so. But it needs to be supporting all the features, and this goes through software, of course. So it needs to be upgradable, adaptable, and this is the reason. This is probably the main reason. I think we are seeing something similar, like in the automotive industry with Tesla, for example, because it's the same car, but the features are added throughout the time. It's constantly, and as you mentioned. Basically, we started from the software roots, basically from the software company, where we figured out that unattended delivery is kind of the future. So we added hardware, and one of our starting points was also having an open, agnostic approach to it, and operating our own network in Slovenia and Croatia definitely helps here, because we can see various situations, like from various couriers, various systems, IT systems that they have in place, even different processes, and also including the click and collect and other scenarios that people use our lockers. So yeah, this really helps us because we are actually playing the role that otherwise our customers are playing. So we are talking their language, yeah, as you mentioned.
So João, you mentioned already that there's always you have to keep a balance between the universality or the special needs for the clients. But talking about your software, so do you have one software that will fit to all of your clients, and you are developing this sort of version, or you are still making a dedicated version for different clients?
Yeah, so great question. For us, it's important to build a standard solution that can scale effectively. And what we realized from an engineering perspective, if you're going to be fragmenting your system for each customer, that's just not doable, because it becomes hard to maintain, it becomes cumbersome, it becomes slow, expensive, etc. So what we were able to do in terms of building our software is the core infrastructure is the same for everyone. So the core business logic on the back end, the core firmware of all lockers, and then we allow for customization on the loose ends. How do we do this? We have a very strong API, so our partners can have different flows, but as soon as it gets to our system, it's kind of the same thing. It's the same business logic. Same thing for the firmware and the locker itself. Sure, you can have a different flow, because couriers will operate the lockers differently. How do you do that? You give them the option to, for example, customize the front end. So if they can create their own flow inside the locker screen, for example, while still having the same firmware, we can create this sense of customization, and in fact there's a lot of customization that they can do. But they don't have to deal with the complexities of the base infrastructure, which is the cloud part, the communication, the security, the reliability. So that's kind of our approach to the solution. Keeping the core infrastructure standardized, same for everyone, and then creating the tools, being modular and creating the tools for our partners to be able to customize what they need to customize, what matters for them.
Absolutely, and Tadej, back to you. You mentioned already, or compared it with a car industry, and the software is sort of interchangeable, always get an upgraded. But do you see a challenge to create the Parcel Locker software? Is the demand from the client clear for you? Is the signal from the market what they need understandable, or it's very wide? There are very different needs. How do you feel this market you are operating with?
Yeah, what we see are really a variety of needs, because it really depends on who you're talking to. What is, end of the day, the size of the delivery company using it, what kind of systems they have in place. So we can see basically anything from the companies that would just want to use the hardware part without anything, to the companies that are fully utilizing our software with all the processes supported, meaning from the couriers, flows of parcels, notifying customers, returns and everything. So really a variety of scenarios required. So what we end up is that we need to basically incorporate all the features that we can imagine, and still we got requirements for something we don't have. But on the other end, it needs to be as flexible for our customers to basically either use the whole solution as out of the box, or maybe just the hardware part, or anything in between. And what is mostly important here, this is where the cloud native approach comes into play. It is that that they can change the scope and the features that they are using throughout time. So basically, we have seen customers that have started like out of the box, utilizing all our apps, portals, all our front ends, everything. And they are slowly ending to basically phasing us out, and we are just like a white label technology provider. We are no longer visible. And it is really important that you don't have to do any new integration or any new approach here, but basically that they can do this transition smoothly as the volumes and the demand grows.
This conference has been talking about two things mainly, or there are two buzzwords floating. One is sustainability. We both think that parcel lockers are sustainable, but the other world is AI, and there is a lot of talk about that, but not so much concrete examples how it has been utilized. You are a technology-driven person, and what is your view on that? How big and how important AI will be for the parcel locker operations and software?
So, I mean, obviously AI is it's a buzzword nowadays. It's very popular. It's very broad. What is AI, what isn't? It's hard to define. I obviously think there are some use cases for AI applications at individual specific steps where it can benefit a lot your smart locker network. But I don't think it will be such a key thing that will completely disrupt whatever exists in the market. But I think there's definitely cases to be used. I can talk about, if you're talking about open networks, capacity management is still one of the main challenges to solve technically, because you have a lot of companies basically sharing this space. How can you make sure that everybody has the right amount of space, but you don't overbook, also don't leave a lot of lockers empty? I think this is where using data, using some machine learning models, some AI, I think there's a lot of cool solutions that can be made there that at scale can actually present a big efficiency increase for these big networks. But there are other things, other technical details. If you're talking about battery powered lockers, which is a big topic nowadays, a lot of AI and software can go around the topic of managing battery, the actual energy usage. So there's a lot of different applications that I think definitely will compound over time. I don't think it's going to be a complete breakthrough that's going to change things completely.
You mentioned exactly the points that batteries and battery savers and going back to you, Tadej, your company and your product is extremely oriented to energy saving and how it has been affecting your software development. Is there been a lot of work put into the development to maintain the good ratio of battery needed?
Oh yeah, relying on batteries, of course, requires an efficient operations on all levels, from hardware to software, and being able, to run on batteries for several years. Of course, it needs to be optimized and work in parallel in, as mentioned, hardware and software side. However, you must not forget of any features that customers needs, and of course, what is important here is also to use things like rechargeable batteries, also to use solar panels, which gives you a higher autonomy. Maybe even more compared to this battery operations, it was the requirement that our lockers so far have been operated by mobile phones, which is a bit different logic compared to traditional pin experience lockers, because obviously you don't have active communication on the locker itself, which means that all the processing needs to happen on the back end and through the through the interface that the customer is using, either a mobile app or web interface. While in case of having independent communication on the locker, it makes the work in the software development a bit easier. We are facing those challenges right now, because right now we are supporting both types of lockers, so either pin operated with active communication and the ones that are fully operated by mobile phones, and where mobile phone is used as identification and means of communication for all the events happening on the locker. And this is what affects the development mostly.
So thank you guys. I think we are going to wrap up this discussion, because you can much more rely on the information that is printed in the Parcel Locker Software review. You can definitely find it in our homepage, and please use it and download it. So thank you again for supporting that review and supporting Parcel Locker Software industry, and see you in the next episode.
Well,
Thank you.